I've noticed when I'm not doing so good, or when I'm like, okay, this is a bad day, things aren't just not working out, or my mind starts to kind of look back on things I didn't maybe do well enough. It's because I'm not playing. If I was playing, then I wouldn't have time to think about that stuff. And not everyone can just play all day. So I understand that. And, with Cycles, we work to get there. But I'd say that even when I'm not playing, if I'm not listening to music, I swear I'm thinking about that stuff. So that's just me. And everyone has stuff that they've got to work on. But, if you really are passionate about music, like I think a lot of us are, that stuff does work, and it's really healing, and it's super powerful.
Here we are on the Weird Music Podcast. We've got Pat Harvey from Cycles here. Pat, it's been way too long, man. Glad to have you on. Glad to catch up. I'm excited to see you all around the festival circuit now that things are opening back up.
Absolutely, man. We're glad to be there.
I follow you on Facebook, and I love to see just how deep of a connection you have with music. You're not shy at, making posts and writing about kind of whether it's what a specific dinner and a movie show meant to you, or just kind of what a project of yours means to you. And I know people have such a tight relationship with music, whether you're a listener or a musician. I want to know, like, with your ebbs and flows of creativity, motivation, and just your journey as a musician, how has this pandemic kind of, affected that? I know you came out with some solo projects. Like, what's this last year been like for you?
It's been pretty rough, honestly, in every other front than like actually just writing music. That was the only really good thing that came. I mean, that came from this, besides from, learning some lessons and kind of like learning how to throw a party at someone's house again, and with music, which is something that we forgot about. But it's going to be nice to get into some venues again. It was a kind of a rough year, just because I think with Cycles, we had just been touring for 4 years, and it was about 100 shows a year that we were actually touring, throughout the year. And so it was kind of like molding our life to be like, I was finally like, okay, this is just the way life is. And I think it's more than that, because like it brings like some kind of spirituality to musicians' life. Like when you're traveling around and you're like giving people this, gift that you have, you're sharing it with people. It's like you get these messages and these positive kind of messages, and along the ride, you start to kind of just grow spiritually. And I think last year, a lot of that was like kind of taken away, and from the crowd and from the band members. So I'm so excited for it to come back, and I'm glad that people are getting vaccinated and stuff. So yeah.
Listeners also have, like, the people who do hype you all up and love your music, they're having a spiritual experience, like, as you could relate with your favorite bands. Like, it's a two-way street with
Yep.
it, like, meaning so much. And that's something I'm curious about, like, because it's like you feel good, you play good, but it's like, well, if you don't feel good, can you still write good songs? Like that was something I was interested to hear from you.
You write the best songs. I mean, I was thinking about that yesterday. Like, it's crazy, and it's honestly scary how like some of the best stuff comes out of me, I guess, personally, when I'm going through a rough time. And it doesn't even have to be like this dark, depressing music. It'll just be like no one would ever notice. It's just like what's keeping me uplifted, and I feel like it's just like good vibes. And and I think that it says a lot when you're able to put that stuff out when you're going through weird things, because it says a lot about the song, because that means that if the song is officially a song that you made during that time, that when you go to play it live, it'll be ultimate good vibes, or ultimate scary and terrible vibes, if that's what you wanted it to mean. But it's powerful, when it comes from an authentic place like that.
So Cycles, you're working on an upcoming album, right? There's an album here in the near future. You want to talk a little bit about that now?
No, absolutely. Yeah. We haven't decided on a name yet, but it's going to be probably our heaviest and our chillest effort yet. Just listening back to the songs, like some of our heaviest moments I've ever heard from the band is on this record, and then some of the most like, relaxed stuff is on this album too. So it's a good balance. I'm really happy. We're all really happy with it, and Tucker keeps saying it sounds better than we actually do. So that's probably a good thing, I guess, somehow.
I'd love to hear how you kind of see the juxtaposition between like chill, almost more relaxed or pretty music, and then heavy music. Like with Cycles, like how do these two complement each other?
Oh, it's everything, man. It's everything with this band, man. Like it's because there's not that many of them. Not that there's just three of us. So if Tucker, he usually wants to play like mean and just aggressive, and I usually want, I sometimes want to do that, but sometimes I want to play something blissful and like beautiful and lighthearted, and just like, and so that is just, I mean, it speaks for itself. It fits together. It's like, if you had two, if you have two people that are like the same all the time, I would probably get boring, I guess, but we're able to kind of push and pull and feed off of each other that way. Cause yeah, it's pretty cool.
It sounds like the way you're describing it's almost like a dance or something of that nature.
Yeah.
How much of that is planned?
How much of that is what?
Planned.
Oh, planned. Well, I would say that none of it is, and it's never been planned. And even when we were starting like our first rehearsals and Tucker's audition with the band with Wood and I, our first band practice, it was like immediately noticeable. It was just like, wow, this guy has his own style and I just have mine, it's not the same, but it works well together. So I wouldn't say that we ever try to really plan it, because when we do when we've tried to plan things, it just doesn't really sound that good. I don't know why. Set list isn't enough plan for us.
That's one thing, speaking with artists, especially artists that improvise in different ways, like when you think of a song or when you think of really most crafts, most art forms, there is a structure. They rely on the structure, the plan, the agenda. It's something that, I mean, for a lot of songs, they follow it to a T in certain genres, the quote unquote plan. But then in the jam scene, it's like, that's a crumple that up and throw it away. Like, but there still is a structure. And I'm curious, kind of, what is, like, diving into your mind, can you explain the kind of yin and yang between being open to kind of novel, just risky newness of trying something new, but then also having a foundational structure to lean on? Like, how do those two come together with Cycles?
Okay, so you're totally right about the structure thing. I would say that the songs are really important. So you have to kind of use those to your benefit during the live show. It's like you can go on these huge jam, you can go on like a 45-minute jam, but what are you going to do after that? Or like, it's the way that you end that and use your songs to your benefit. It's like, I'll just reference the Grateful Dead, like the best band ever, like they would play drum space, right? You're familiar. And out of drum space, Jerry would go into Stella Blue or Beautiful Ballad, It's like after all of that craziness, it's like, they knew that this song was good and it was going to bring everyone back home. And that's that's kind of like, that's good structure in improvisation and jazz, or it's basically just like if you're making a CD, your track listing on your CD, it's important, like you don't want to just put all the bangers up first and then leave the second half empty, because then everyone will just not listen to the rest of the album. They'll like, oh, that one's good, but it's about halfway through and I'm just like get bored of it, So the structure and the planning, I think, is important when writing a set list. But if you get good enough, then everyone's on the same page and you can kind of feel what you're supposed to play at the right time. I think that's like super masterful. Really good bands do that.
I'm curious hearing you talk about this, like how you all write songs. Like, Is it something you do individually and then come together, or are you doing it as a group?
Well, this album is really special because it was our first album that Tucker and we collaborated on every song almost. And in the past few albums we've put out, it's always been like we all bring our songs to the table, and that's that. We just teach each other how to play them, and then we record them. But this has been different, where I actually wrote a lot of them, which is kind of cool. I guess I wrote a lot of them instrumental, and then I brought them to Tucker, and he was like, "Oh, I dig this. Here's some lyrics for these." So they were full blown. Like, believe it or not, we hadn't done that in the past, and I feel like that's what added to making this like such a special album, and it just really made that whole, like you're talking about, the yin and yang, like the balance between what we have. And then I gotta say, Luke, our new drummer,
Luke.
New drummer. As of we were on tour with Spafford when COVID hit, and we were crushing it, man. And we were filming all the shows, and I think we were like 4 shows in or something, and we were gonna do like 10 more with Spafford and go to like Aspen and Telluride and all this stuff. And COVID had hit, and so we went back to his house, which is a studio, and just started recording this album over the past year. So he's helped a lot with engineering and just getting it to sound great. Like, it's definitely our best sounding album. Like, I swear, So yeah.
So when are you thinking like this might be out approximately?
Okay, so right now we're about 80% done, and I mean that all the tracking is done besides one song. So we've tracked everything. I think I might need to track one more guitar solo. So that's why I say it's about 80% done, because then we got to send it off to get mastered too. So, our plan was to finish it by June 1st. I'm heading down there today to work on it. So I think we're on schedule with the June 1st completion date. That makes it seem like maybe late August, September, probably September, October release.
Cool.
September. So, yeah. I don't know yet, so I don't want to say officially, but that sounds about right to me.
So early fall, all you Cycles fans.
Yeah.
So we kind of alluded to this at the beginning of our talk here. Like, obviously life's not all daisies and smiles. The pandemic's been rough for a lot of people. And even before the pandemic, like, being a touring musician, being a human being, life can feel gray sometimes. And like, as someone like yourself, you're performing at a high level at what you do with the guitar, and that's just kind of objective. You see what you're doing on stage. It's hard to do that in anything when life might be getting you down a little bit, or if you're having a kind of gray day. What keeps you motivated when you might be feeling yourself kind of going in the wrong direction a little bit?
Well, I'd say that every time I'm going in the wrong direction, it's because I'm not playing, and it's because I'm not writing or I'm not working on getting better. It's like, I'm not saying I haven't had good results not doing those things and had fun, but it's just that, like, I've noticed when I'm not doing so good, or when I'm like, okay, this is a bad day, / things are just not working out, or my mind starts to kind of look back on things I didn't maybe do well enough. It's because I'm not playing. If I was playing, then I wouldn't have time to think about that stuff. And not everyone can just play all day. So I understand that. And, with Cycles, we work to get there. But I'd say that even when I'm not playing, if I'm not listening to music, I swear I'm thinking about that stuff. So that's just me. And everyone has stuff that they've got to work on. But if you really are passionate about music, like I think a lot of us are, that stuff does work, and it's really healing, and it's super powerful. So that's really what I do. If I'm not listening to it, then it's usually not good. That's just the way that my life is, and I've just accepted that, and it's beautiful, and I love it. I'm glad that I have it, and I'm glad that so many other people find healing powers in it as well, because it makes me happy to see that. And yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I think just stay focused. That was what was so rough about the pandemic, man. It was that always looking at I hate to keep talking about us or cycles or myself, but I mean, I think everyone can kind of relate to this. You know, when you get old, when you're getting older, you're always looking to see what you've accomplished or what's next that you can accomplish, because no one likes to be stagnant. You know, no one wants to just stay in the same place. But the pandemic, it didn't really offer an ability for people to grow, some people. So that was what, you know, what made things kind of rough for, I think, a lot of musicians. But now that we have this opportunity again, as long as everyone gets vaccinated, then, you know, it's going to be probably better than we had it before. I mean, I hope people can just be grateful, you know, that we're back, and just be grateful for just like the time off. And, you know, I think that just, yeah, taking some time to just sit back. I think about this thing Trey said all the time with, he meditates before the show, before he plays. And then what he does is like, he talks about like picturing where he is, like the town he's in, and picturing it from like Google Earth's perspective, you know? And I always thought that was so cool, because it's just like takes everything off of you and like makes everything less about you and more about everyone, and just like the whole collective. And just like, I think that's really important to do that when you're weighing super hard on yourself, is like kind of look at the big picture. So that helps, I think.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're giving me two answers. It's like so you use music to stay present, and like staying focused on your own growth is what kind of keeps that negativity at bay. But then I hear you also making another jump, that it's not just necessarily focusing on your growth, but focusing on kind of your accountability and your impact on others. Like, is that the focus you're kind of referring to?
Well, I think that's got to be very important to this whole thing, because when you start to feel like you did everyone wrong, or you played a bad show, it's like the end of the world. So I know that there's a lot of importance in bringing everyone, you know, joy, and bringing everyone happy, and bringing everyone together to see music. But yeah, I think that's pretty much what it is. I think staying present through music is that's the only way that I know how to do it, man. I mean, it's just it's so wild out there, you know. You've got to stay tuned in to everything else that's going on, because there's a whole lot of crazy stuff going on today. But, you know, it's like we need a break. America is fucking crazy, man, you know, and I love it so much. I feel so grateful to be here, you know. But I know that, you know, last year, during all that crazy stuff that was going on, I was listening to music, you know, to get away from it, just like I always have my whole life, and just like everyone else has the ability to. So, yeah, it's really, really powerful and very important, and I'm very grateful for it. But I suggest get a nice pair of headphones. Definitely like those. Yeah, some over ears for sure.
You think little Patrick ever would have like looked ahead to now, and you like, did you ever envision you would have this kind of relationship with music back then?
Yes, because I always have. And little Patrick had little cassette tapes, you know, and I was riding the school bus with the little cassette player, Beastie Boys, Prince, Batman soundtrack. I mean, everything way back in the day. It's just because I was exposed to it at a young age, and I'm an only child. I have two half siblings, beautiful sisters, but I was raised basically with my mom. But so I spent a lot of time just listening to that. You know, it's just like my best friend, and it's always been there. And there are certain artists that were there back then that I look to now. I'm like, you've been there this whole time. So many people have come and gone, you know, or so many things have happened, but that stuff is just, it's like the same, you know, and it's so cool. So yeah, grateful, man.
So what was it like back then? Like, you transitioning from just listening to music to then being a guitar player?
Well, I think I always knew that I wanted to do this, and I went to music school for a little bit, and I just had a hard time just staying in school. Like, I have a hard time with the structure and going to class and everything. So I think I fell off a little bit for a little while. between when I started going in 2010 to 2014 or so, I kind of fell off because I was in school for about a year and a half, and then I just started traveling around like the West Coast. I just wanted to see. I grew up in Kentucky, so I really wanted to go check out all the other places in America, and loved Colorado and loved Oregon. But when I got I think I was living in San Francisco, and one of my roommates had an acoustic guitar, and I didn't even have a guitar or any equipment at this time because through all of my travels and through everything, I think I just left two of them at my parents' house and just didn't even bother to get them sent out. So I wasn't even playing that much around 2014. But this guy had a guitar, so I would just get my chops up like crazy, like every night I would just be shredding this acoustic guitar that was super hard to play. That's probably how I got good at playing really fast. Again, because when I was younger, I would practice since, forever. But there was a short period where I wasn't really focused. And 2014, 2015, I started getting back on my grind, got some gear again, got some, started a band in Cincinnati when I was living back home after I moved home from California. And, we played some shows and started to get some traction. We came out here. And I remember once I came out here and linked up with Cycles guys and just feeling like it was fucking time, it was so time, and that no matter what happened, if I got the chance, I was going to blow it up as hard as I could. And so, and we did. And here's the thing, like, there's times where, you get unmotivated, like you said, you get down and stuff. But like, we're all here, we've got a job to do. Everyone's got a job to do. And you just got to remember that you're going to be so much more grateful if you were just positive and looked through whatever you're going through and be like, listen, I'm going to crush this. I've got it's been a pretty shitty past few hours, but we're going to kill this. 2 days from now, you're going to look back and be like, I'm so glad I fucking powered through that. I'm so glad I kept my cool and shit. So whatever you got to do, man, to keep that composure. But, so yeah, for sure, man. That's, I guess I was really stoked when I started the band. I was definitely super happy.
What is that origin story of Cycles?
I came out here with the band I started from Cincinnati that I was talking about, and we were playing at Mountain Sun in Boulder. And a friend, my buddy Michael Wood, our first drummer, he brought out the drums for our drummer to play because we flew out and we needed some backline drums. And Wood wanted to sit in, so he sat in on tweezer. We played tweezer, and dude, it was sick. Like, I just remember feeling like there was multiple drummers behind me. Like, I remember feeling like I was like, this guy's doing two things at once. He's like Joe Russo and Fishman. It's like, I was like, okay, this is tight. So I was like, we could definitely play some shows together. At least we just need to find a bassist and a keys player, because I was dead set about having the keys player. But originality finds you, like, I was pushing for that keys player like crazy. And I wanted him to be able to play my compositions and play all my stuff, accompany me. And Wood and Tucker were like, no, man, let's just do the 3-piece, And I was like, you guys are nuts. Well, how are we supposed to play these songs and to actually truly jam? I think that's what I was really worried about. And it worked out. That was the most original. It's been one of the most original things ever to see, like, footage of us, just 3 people bringing this crazy like arena rock sound with like jams and shit. And like, I'm serious, because I swear I'm such a huge lover of music. Like, I feel like my ears are so wide open and like connected to my heart. It's like, even when I'm listening to Cycles, like, I forget it's me, and I'm just listening to it. And so I think probably a lot of other musicians are like that too. But yeah, man, that was a great start, and Wood really put in all that effort, put 3 years of touring with us and got us super far. And Tucker and I, we were like pretty different in the beginning. We are very different people, but it's like crazy after all those jams and all those situations and all those, like, when you're on stage sometimes in the middle of a huge jam and all these people are watching you, it's like you could literally you could sink or swim, and like we listen to each other and hold each other up. And I think through that we've instilled a really amazing bond and connection for life. Doesn't matter what drummer we're playing with. Just so happens Luke is an incredible drummer. We play with other drummers, but it doesn't matter what drummer we're playing with. It's just we've got that connection. So I'm very grateful for Tucker also that he's stuck around through all of this. We've had a lot of people come and go and a lot of things happen. So yeah, man, I can't, I'm so grateful that everyone's back, that we're going to be able to play concerts again. So yeah.
Yeah. Live music is super, super freaking back, man. That's so cool to hear that story from you. I'm curious,
Yeah.
like my ears are wide open. Like I want to know with you, what are some qualities, some common themes of music that really resonates with you? For instance, I am a sucker. I love like a beautiful acoustic guitar melody. Like there's a guy named Tommy Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Like I love just like a really, like it feels like a spring morning, like Fiona with the birds and Shrek. Like
Yes.
but I could, but then I also like lo-fi chill hip hop that, you know,
Yeah.
also has space. I mean, there's consistencies also between jam bands. Like there's a reason Fish fans may also like Cycles. Like, so I'm wondering with you, what are some common themes or trends of like elements of songs that really strike you in your core?
Whenever I'm able to find an artist that can connect, like, wow, that's a huge scroll. That can connect with, um, you know, the listener on like a deep level. That's just not, I don't know. I feel like everyone has these things that like they accept or like they recept well, to like musicians when they're playing things. Like for instance, like some people just love U2, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know why, but I do know why, because The Sweetest Thing and a couple other good songs are great, you know, and they're like they're super catchy. Like it's more than being catchy though. It's like that catches that individual person and it hits them in the soul, because there's like there's these chord progressions I feel like that some people vibe with more than others. It's like a frequency thing. Like you know, some people like DCG, some people like A minor GF, you know, like I like both, but I like probably like DCG more. You know what I mean? And it depends on what mood you're in. I think people are able to capture, when you're able to capture the mood on record and then you can deliver it to someone when they're feeling that same mood. I think it's like done, gold. And you know, I think that's probably why a lot of people talk shit about Trey's uplifting, beautiful poppy songs on the internet, because they're not happy. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to call out people. Maybe Reba makes them more happy because it reminds them of a happier time in their life, like subconsciously. You know what I'm saying?
Interesting.
So for me, like I I think like, okay, so like to answer your question, what types of music do I like? I like emotional music that resonates well with me. You know, I don't know why certain chord progressions do more than others, but they do. I just like really emotional connecting music. Like there's even in jazz, like the jazz, like Pat Metheny, he can do that. He can tell you a whole story without saying words, you know. And but someone else might not like it. You know, I know Rob from Dopapod. Like I was talking to Rob, he's like, I don't like Pat Metheny. I was like, really? He's like, you two are like my two favorite guitarists, and they're so sick. I can't believe you guys don't like each other. But yeah, you know, it's just everyone's different. So I don't know what I like. I like Spice Girls. I like Slayer. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe I'm crazy a little bit. I don't know, but I love Dave Matthews. Some people talk shit about him, but I think that he can tell a story so well. Like he can, like his lyrics. Like I'm not much of a lyricist or a vocalist, in my opinion, but Dave, he can like just sing and tell the story so well that I'll listen to it over and over again just because I feel like I've made a connection with it. And it's like, you know, so many other great artists do that. Like, you know, so it all depends. I think that's what music's cool. They're kind of like pictures. It's kind of like a song's kind of like a picture in a frame, you know. It's like you're you can remember a certain time when you first had it, when you first listened to it, and it's just like always in there. And even if you can't remember that first time, it's just like all of the good times that have trailed because of that song, and like all the good times listening, it just stays with you forever. So yeah.
It's crazy how music can really trigger things in subconscious. Like our subconscious is really the thing listening.
Definitely. That's crazy. Yeah, man. Wow. And yeah.
So, like, with all this being said, what advice could you share with any other professional musicians who are listening?
Stay professional, and don't give up. um the music industry is so deep, and there's like shitty things happen, and really amazing things happen too. So just you kind of have to just keep trucking. I think I would say just try to be as original as you can without trying. And also just don't give up. Like if you've had a whole week's or whole year's worth of no luck writing, don't give up. You never know, man. And that shit just comes from somewhere else. So who knows, dude?
A similar question. What advice could you offer to just other guitar players?
Other guitar players? Well, there's a few got really good players that I love. Jimmy Herring, Isaiah Sharkey, Alan Holdsworth, and Mark Lettieri. I think that's how you say his name. That guy's fucking amazing. So listening to albums and learning how to play the songs and learning how to solo over the changes with the drummer on the album, so that when you get on stage and you're playing with the drummer, you're used to it. It's not like you've just been hanging out by yourself playing to yourself. It's what it's all about. If you're really trying to play gigs, and if not, if you're trying to do a solo thing, then that's cool too. But I'd say if you're trying to play in a band and play live and improvise and stuff, I would definitely play to a drummer as much as you can, because that drummer guitarist connection is like that's it right there.
Well, Pat, man, I love the way you orient yourself towards like originality. You really give off a vibe like you are confident, but you're vulnerable, and I definitely appreciate that.
Thank you.
So it's 2021. Y'all might be listening in the future, but I think right now we're recording this on May 28th. So Patrick, where in the near future can Cycles fans catch y'all live?
The Mishawaka Amphitheater in Colorado. We're doing some really awesome stuff coming up soon. That might be around that area, and it might be after a band that you guys really like a lot. So that might happen. And then Beanstalk Festival in Bond, Colorado. I know these are all in Colorado. But then we're going to, which is, it's a great festival. If you've never been, I think it's sold out this year. But if you're able to get a ticket somehow, please go. Summer Camp and Backwoods Festival look like a lot of fun this year. So we'll be at both of those. And yeah, that's it right now for the most part, I think.
Fuck yeah. Well, this has been the Weird Music Podcast, y'all. If you listen this far, thank you. Thanks for listening. Pat's the man. Goes without being said. Go out, go on Spotify, follow Cycles, but then close Spotify. Let's go on to Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Cycles. I'll catch you at the Cycles shows. Give us a like, a subscribe, a thumbs up, a comment. Better yet, fuck all that. Share this with a friend. Share Cycles with a friend. I love you. We love you. Pat, what do you want to leave our listeners off with? Any last words, my guy?
It's just great to see you, Cam. It's really, really good to see your face, man.
Shit, it's good to see yours too, man.
I can't wait to see. I know we're gonna be just getting after it soon at some show somewhere, and I can't wait, man.
Hell yeah, you can bet on that. You can bet your Bitcoin on that. And dude, live music's back. It's a sunny day, I see, and dude, this just made my day. So glad we got to connect, and I'm sure I'll see you real soon, Pat.
Yeah. Stay up, everybody. Much love, everybody. See you, Cam.
Thank you for listening. Shout out to the sponsor, SEM Tickets. We love y'all. We'll see you real soon.